get it. Look, no limit. If I want it, then I go get it. Make it rain, get a poncho. I got the juice in the Bronco. Baby say beat it up like a bongo. Left and right shots like a combo. If you want a problem, we can start it up. Yeah, pick a date.
Welcome everybody to episode 4 of In the Loop. Today I am joined with Rin or Piff Garage on Instagram. So Rin, tell me a little bit about yourself. Like in a couple sentences, like who are you in the car scene?
I am new in the car scene, especially on social media. I've had this Aston Martin here that we're parked in front of for about 8 months now. But I just started posting last November, so I've been posting for about 2 months now and having a great time, meeting a lot of cool people.
Awesome. Yeah, like that's pretty similar to Chase, who we had on episode 2. He was pretty like basically end of November. Mm-hmm. And you've interviewed him for your show you got going on. What's that called? What's that about? Like maybe share a little bit on that.
Yeah, we did the episode with Chase. It's called What It Takes to Own. And we do a lot of things talking about different career avenues or ways that people have gotten into exotic car ownership. So not so much the things that I'm seeing on social media, but really trying to show people different perspectives of there's more than one way to own things like that or pursue your passions.
For sure, not necessarily like that hype beast kind of way of like, oh, you need to like be a rapper making millions of dollars, but like, no, how do you actually obtain something like this?
Yeah.
So the
big thing for me is that I really wanted to show real experiences and give people real insight from what owning an exotic car is all about. It's not just, like you said, the hype beast or the influencer that has millions of dollars at their disposal. Like this is something that an average person like myself can get into, and there's a lot of ways to do it. For
sure. So Piff Garage, if I'm not mistaken, that's paid in full, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's such a like, maybe not noble is the right word, but like, I think it's so easy, especially with internet culture these days, to feel like with what you hear influencers say that they are and say that they have, that you feel like you'll never achieve that. There's not a path forward. And especially as like younger people trying to get into the car scene, like even on the low end, you're like, I can't go have all these awesome cars. Like I'm working at McDonald's making $12 an hour, right? And so anyway, I just think it's awesome to like show, hey, this is achievable. And like, you know, if people can know that they can achieve that, then they can go and work towards that, right?
Absolutely. And I'm all about showing people those different ways, like I said, but also that you can do these things responsibly. Like you don't have to sign up for those 10-year car loans or like 15-year car loans that are like really going to kill you on interest. Like I want to educate people on the things to be conscious of, like buying a used car, buying a depreciated car, are ways that you can have just as much fun as the guy that paid full price for it. So yeah, like really trying to show people what it means to have fun responsibly with cars.
For sure. And I know that's something that you really took to heart in regards to this Aston Martin, was you took a look at the market, you saw how much these things had depreciated from new and how much value there was in that, and you took advantage.
Absolutely.
Like what was kind of the choice in going for this car specifically beyond just the financials?
Yeah, going back to when I was like 6 years old, James Bond was one of my favorite characters. Like I'd played the Xbox, like I forget the name of the video game, but it was a James Bond game, and he had an Aston Martin Vanquish from like 2004 in the video game, and I was like, this is the sickest car I've ever seen in my life, like in the 16-bit version of it. But so always had a soft spot for Aston Martin, and then most recently last year, I had more extra funds that came to me, and I had been saving for a while, and I was like, I think it's finally time that I pay myself back and all the hard work that I've been putting in. So I started scanning the market, things in my price range, and I was looking at things like a Porsche Cayman. I was looking at like Nissan GTRs that were a little bit older, things like that. And I eventually stumbled on these newer generation Vantages from like 2019 and beyond. I saw that there were some that were feasibly in my price range that I could afford, and kind of came full circle, like my affinity for the character, as well as just a beautiful, high-performing car. Like really get a lot of bang for buck for what it is.
No, for sure. Because remind me, what engine is in this thing?
It's the Mercedes AMG engine. It's the V8. It's like a 4.8 liter. Puts like 500 horsepower down to the rear wheels.
Yeah.
So like it sounds great. It drives great. And it's pretty practical too. Like there's a lot of space in the trunk, and you can fit a second passenger like all cars. But like it's been everything that I want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, it looks comfortable. I mean, Aston Martin's kind of known for like grand touring cars, and like
For sure.
this is definitely something that like you could go take a road trip in, be happy, and like a lot of people on the internet are gonna be like, oh, only 500 horsepower, like that's nothing, right? Like my uncle's got a twin turbo Lamborghini. Like no, that's not true, and that's not the case. And so like it's awesome that cars like this exist and that they're that fun. Kind of what. I mean, you talk about seeing an Aston Martin when you're 6. What brings you from being kind of that kid to like, how did you decide that you wanted to own cars like this? Like, what's the progression there?
Yeah, I'd say I've always been drawn towards luxury things, whether it's like an expensive car, like a nice house, good, like fashionable clothes, things like that. But I would say my first memory that I ever had with cars in particular, my dad had a 1991 Acura NSX, and it was all black with like a cream interior. And I just remember seeing it when I was so young. It was one of my first memories that I recall, actually. And he would just park it in his garage. And one day I snuck into the garage, and I'd opened the door, I climbed in, and I closed the door, and I just kind of sat in it. And I was like, this feels really good. Like, I don't know how to describe this, but I really like this feeling. So my dad was a car guy, had that one. And so I feel like I always had that in me, but again, like time goes on and I'm making my own money. I'm starting to like pay my own bills and put myself out into the world. And it just seemed like such a far dream. Like I was like 2 or 3 decades away from being able to own something that was like on that level that my dad's car was at. And then something just changed. Like I feel like I really started to get traction in my career, and I was starting to realize some investments or like some good decisions that I'd made in my earlier 20s really started to pay off. And so it kind of opened that door back up to me, and I was like, I actually could afford something that I thought was well beyond my reach.
Yeah.
And that kind of inspired me to get this car. And then through time, I thought there was an opportunity to show other people a similar perspective that I had gained in that year.
No, for sure. And so like, what, I mean, you don't need to get too deep here, but like, what do you do for work? And like, realistically, I think it'd be good to touch on like, how much work was this worth? And like, what's the equivalency there? Like, what were the things you're sacrificing? Because I'm like, I think a lot of people don't recognize that like there is sacrifice needed for pursuing these kind of passions, right?
For sure. I think that's a great question. And it's something that I get a lot of questions on my own Instagram a lot of the time, actually, because people will see it and they're like, oh, dude, what do you do? Because I think the natural extension is like, oh, if he's doing that, then I should go do that as well. But
yeah,
go do what you want to do. Like, pursue your passions. Like, there's more than one ways to do this. So I work in video production myself and in marketing. I've worked at a company for close to 9 years now, I want to say. It started as like the most entry level you could possibly get in that field. Like I was listed as a clerk. I wasn't even technically like an editor or a videographer or anything like that. But I was just hungry, and I proved that to the people that hired me, that I was willing to do whatever it took, whether it was like a small edit for social media, or if it was for, if I was just like organizing the gear in our closet or something like that. And through time, I just got little incremental improvements and promotions, and I was taking on more and more responsibility. And as opportunities were coming up, I was just saying yes to them and embracing them, even if they were beyond what I thought I was capable of. So I feel like the last 10 years has really just been a journey of keeping my head down and just staying focused on where I want to be in like 20 years when I'm turning 40 or something like that. And I think that encapsulates it. What was the other part of your question? Sorry.
No, I think that covers it. I mean, like, I think the biggest thing is obviously to take on those opportunities and do that. That is a sacrifice of like, I think mental load, like, you know, like you said, you felt like it was beyond your capabilities. I feel like that's a huge impact on most people, that they feel like they're stuck in their current position and that there isn't a way forward because they don't have the capability. They don't know. But I think also there's so much, if you just say yes and like you're hungry enough and you work hard enough, you can learn that skill. Like there's so many resources available for that. And also so many people that are willing to help. Like I know, like obviously my career is in video as well. Like the amount of people that like, if you ask a question are willing to like, oh yeah, so this is why that works the way it does. Oh, that helps me exponentially.
For sure.
And you know, it's like people are willing to like, the biggest things are people are willing to help you. And as long as you're pushing and trying to do it, like people are going to recognize that and they're going to be there for you. Like, and like you're way more capable than you think you are.
Absolutely. I think I can relate to this for sure, but it's scary to think beyond what you currently have. Like it's easy to envision like, oh, I want to drive an SVJ someday and like daydream about all the nice things that you could accumulate or the life you want to live, the person you want to be with. But I think it really is the turning point for people when they can finally decide like, no, I am capable of doing this, so I'm going to go do it. Like it's easier said than done, but even you guys doing this show now, it's like it takes work and it takes a mental load to be able to cross that threshold at all to like make the first episode or like start scheduling people for interviews and things like that. Cause even that like block in your mind that you have to get past is like a big hurdle. But once you do that, you're like, oh, I filmed it and people were bought into my vision and what I was trying to do. And from there, it starts to like build that belief in yourself.
Yeah, and like using the show as the example, like this was an idea I had maybe 6 months ago. Talked with some friends about it, like tried to film randomly at like a car rally that I was hired out to film at. But just was like a little too afraid to like ask the right questions, just kind of put myself out there. And then, you know, Easton and I, we finally are like, let's commit to doing this. Let's actually do it. Start an Instagram account and literally just randomly DM just a bunch of people. And the amount of responses, first off, was kind of cool. But the fact that like someone said yes, they showed up, we filmed them in their car, and we were able to put something together that even if it only impacts one person, like that was the goal we set out to do. And so taking that to the example of like somebody who's looking to get to a point where they can afford the car they want, it's a situation of like, go ask your boss what you could do. Like, even if you think like, oh, where I'm at, there's no room to grow. I'm like, I don't know how many business owners aren't like this, but most that I've ever talked to, if you turn to them and like, hey, I want to get better at my job, I want to do more for you. What would you have me do? Like, where can I step up? They're gonna give you a list of like, well, I need someone who does this. I need someone who does that, and they're gonna give you your path for how you improve at your current situation. And then there's always the option of like finding a different path or whatever the case is, but it is that kind of initial leap of faith and like kind of just set it, like just finally taking that step beyond where you're at. Once you do that, the doors open up.
I completely agree.
And the floodgates open.
Showing initiative to the people that employ you or people that you're like trying to bring on as a potential client, knowing ahead of time how you can improve their situation or add value to their business or something like that is something that is a game changer for so many people. Because I think especially in the creative field, a lot of the people I work with are kind of in this imposter syndrome mentality where they're unsure like if they should charge a certain amount for a wedding if they're being asked to photograph one or something like that. And I'm like, that is extra income. You tell them like what your time is worth, and if they say yes, great. And if they don't, well, you'll find somebody else that is willing to pay that amount, right? So it's like, it's really just showing that initiative and starting those conversations and knowing where you can add value to whatever situation you're in.
Yeah, and like I see that a lot because I mean, similar background. I have people who text me, being like, "Hey, I got this potential client for editing. One person said $20 an hour, but you know, and that's more than what I make now. But also, is that like what I should be charging?" It's like, well, what's it worth? What do you think that your end result is worth, right?
Sure.
It's like the outcome of your actions. What is that worth to somebody? That's what you're selling. And whether you're doing sales, whether you're, you know, working in an office job, whether you're doing creative work, whatever you're doing to, you know, better your life, you know, financially or otherwise, it's what you sell is what you think the end product's worth, right?
For sure.
And sometimes people need a reminder of like, you're worth a lot more than you think, right? Like he's over here being like $20 an hour. I'm like, you should be charging like 35, right? Like
Absolutely.
And so like tell him you'll do this one at X amount. That's like $10 an hour higher, but then the next one needs to be at this after you've wowed them. Like if you want like that reasoning as to why you're worth that much, or you feel like you need to have that conversation. So,
and if it's a field that you particularly believe in, that you could find success, like abundant success eventually, you have to be willing to gut it out through the quiet days and the boring days. Because with video production in particular, or if you're in real estate or something like that, you have to be able to show people that you're capable of doing the job for not a lot of money before you can really start making money.
For sure.
Because you see somebody that has sold like thousands of properties in real estate, that person didn't start by taking like a 7% commission or something like that. Like they started by learning the job and getting good at it. And it was through time they saw all their clients were satisfied with what they were doing, and they were able to expand their scope from there. Like you really have to be able to sit down and be okay with things when they're really, really slow and like developing. You got to be patient for it too.
Yeah. And I think real estate's a great example of like, because you have to pay money to be licensed. You have to go do all this like work in like continuing education classes and everything to keep your license. And you don't get paid until you sell a house.
Yeah.
Or you help someone buy one. Like, and there's costs that you have to pay in doing all that. And the amount of people that like, oh, I just went and did my job, or like I went and got a day job, and like they kind of like put the real estate like, oh, maybe I'll make it happen. Maybe I'll sell a house and like that'll be a great day. But they don't just commit to being like the best real estate agent they could be, right? Going out there, being helpful, trying to educate people. Like the biggest thing like to success and that kind of thing is like showing that you're there, you're putting in the work, and like that you know your stuff, even if you don't. Like, even if it's your first real estate transaction, if you make them feel like you're going to be the man, you're taking care of everything, and like they have nothing to worry about, then that's how they're going to feel about going with you, right?
People don't automatically know what you don't know. So as long as you can like exude confidence and like figure things out, you're going to be okay. And I think that applies to basically everything in life. Like, you don't have to have all the answers right now, but if you believe that you're going to put in the time to go figure those things out, the rest will take care of itself.
For sure. So I think ultimately, like your background and like what you're trying to do with your show is to give people that perspective of like, it's obtainable, it's doable, even if you feel it's beyond where you are now. Like you can grow into being that person that is doing that to then make all this happen.
Absolutely. I'm a very ambitious person. I dream big, and I don't like thinking that there's a cap on what I'm capable of doing. And for people that think similarly or have felt similar things through their time, I just want to give them some perspective that applying yourself in the right ways and being patient with the things that you care about or the things that you believe in can yield good results. And maybe you're not gonna own every single car in the world. Maybe you're not gonna have like a multi-million-dollar house someday, but you can really change your life for the better just by implementing basic strategies to be more financially well-rounded.
Well, obviously, we've gone a little bit in depth about, where you've come from, your perspective with video production, what it took to get this vehicle. Can you give us a little bit of an idea as far as like specs? Have you modified this other than obviously matte blacking the thing and making it look super cool? Like, what are some of the things you've done to it? Yeah,
the only aftermarket thing that I've done to this point is the wrap, but I've considered doing like an ECU tune just to like get it to kick a little bit more, as well as an exhaust, just because I like attention. So those are things that I've considered, but to this point, it's just the wrap.
That makes sense. So as far as the driving experience, 500 horsepower to the rear wheels is quite a bit.
It's a lot.
What's that like driving it, here in Utah? I mean, obviously probably stay out of the snow unless you want to just keep doing fishtail donuts, but...
Unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, it hasn't snowed a whole lot here in Utah this season. So I've actually been able to stay on the road quite a bit this year. It actually, this is an aside, but I've been dying to show or do content with this in the snow, just because I think it's like that same mantra of like, just go drive your cars, like go enjoy the thing, don't care about that, whatever.
Absolutely.
But anyways, 500 horsepower to the rear wheel is more than most people need. Like, even if it's a fun car, you'll see people spec out a car that has like 1,000 or 1,500 horsepower. somebody like me that's just trying to like punch it at a red light and just see how fast like I can get pinned to the seat, this is more than enough for what I'm doing. So it drives great. It's comfortable when you need it to be, but it definitely can get up and go when it's time to put your foot down.
That's valid. So, I mean, talk to me a little bit about, you know, Devon kind of briefly touched on like what it took to get this vehicle.
Yeah.
What's been your like experience so far now owning the vehicle, you know, borderline daily driving, if not daily driving it? Has it been kind of more of a conversation piece? Obviously it's helped with, you know, what you're trying to do with social media, but
yeah, for sure.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Daily driving this, just getting around town, going grocery shopping, going to the gym, it's fun. Like I enjoy it. It gets its, like I see people turning heads as I'm just driving down the street, and that's a good time. But it has like a surprising amount of space for how small the car is. Like it's only a 2-door. But the trunk I'll put my golf clubs into. I can fit extra luggage, like if I have a weekend bag or something like that. So from a practicality standpoint, it actually does really well for how capable it is for speed and performance and everything like that. And a lot of people were cautioning me a ton on Aston Martin itself, like, oh, like you're gonna really pay for it on maintenance. Like that's why the car's so affordable. And I was like, okay. But I did the research, and like it has the AMG engine in it, so I felt more reassured that it was going to be more accessible for parts, and it was going to be easier to work on if I took it to a shop. Compared
to the old DB9s with the Mercury engines and whatever.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was a big factor for me. So getting into this car, it had just barely gotten its suspension replaced by the previous owner, so I was like, okay, that's something that's going to take care of like a big cost for me. And as time goes on, the only work I've really had to do on this is the brake fluids and the oil change, and there's been no other issues. So owning it has been pretty easy. Fingers crossed that continues. But yeah, from a livability standpoint, all the people that are in my comments saying that it's going to be in the shop constantly, I have really yet to experience that. It's been great.
Yeah, so speaking about that, obviously there seems to be a little bit of disparity. People in real life, you know, cars and coffee style, meeting people on the street, you're at a car wash, getting gas, whatever. It seems to be a pretty positive, oh, sick car, man. What's your experience been like? Because obviously internet culture in and of itself, there's a lot of trolls, there's a lot of haters. Like, how have you been able to manage that?
Yeah, I feel like I had to learn really quickly that you can't take anything that somebody says personally. Like, even if it's a good thing, like you just have to completely separate your feelings about the car or whatever message you're trying to get across away from what people are saying to you. Because think of somebody when you're scrolling and you're not really thinking about anything, you're just kind of like intaking whatever the algorithm is giving you. If you comment something, you're probably not like super impassioned about the thing that you're actually saying. It's just like, oh, this guy's pants look weird. Haha, let me type that out. Totally. So I kind of put myself in that scenario where, yeah, I wear cropped pants and I show a lot of ankle when I wear my pants, but
at least you don't wear no-show socks, so that'd be another story.
Yeah, exactly.
I would be a personal hater.
I have to draw the line somewhere, you know?
Sure.
But yeah, I feel like separating yourself from what people are saying and just not taking things too personally, it makes things a lot more digestible for sure.
Absolutely. So with kind of that mentality leading into the future, obviously you're trying to scale, you know, what you're doing here and really show that this is actually something you can do as far as your dreams can be attainable.
Absolutely.
Especially an Aston Martin, which is incredible, by the way. It's like moving into the future, how do you envision, this going forward just with your vision of the vehicle, but also just your brand?
Yeah, for sure. Like I was saying earlier, I'm somebody that tends to dream pretty big, and I want to take things to the nth degree. So as I was thinking about starting this car content and posting on Instagram, TikTok, starting up YouTube, and doing these interviews where I ask actual car owners what their experience has been like, I've had my mind go in other places as well. Like, what can I do beyond that, beyond just telling people stories or giving people certain information? And I envision down the road offering my services to show people, or I can go out and show, sorry, let me back up.
Go ahead.
I envision in the future being able to be an advisor for people that are looking for cars. Because I've had people reaching out to me pretty regularly at this point about advice, like certain makes, models, years, things like that. And I could see myself being an advisor to those people, offering my services to be I can go find your car for you. I can give you these options. I can get the inspection all scheduled, everything like that. And really just being like a broker of sorts, trying to get people into cars that make sense for them, that aren't going to overstretch, or that are just going to be headaches to own from the jump. So,
or a money pit or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So I could see something like that in the future. And then a lot of other typical things that you'll see from people that are on social platforms like merchandise or doing meetups. I could see doing meetups this year as well as it starts to get warmer, just trying to bring people together and get actual car owners together and form a little community out of it.
Absolutely. So more of a consultant style, instead of people going to bring a trailer or auction, being like, I'm just going to see if I can figure it out. Like, you would be that specialist that people would be able to have, and they'd have the confidence to be like, I'm going to get something that I know I'm going to be able to love. I'm not going to spend a crazy amount of money outside of my budget to get, and I'll be happy with it. And I won't be throwing thousands of dollars just a month trying to keep it running, you know?
For sure. And it's something that I enjoy doing. Like, even though I own this car and I'm not like actively looking to buy something else, I still go on all these auction sites and all these like car gurus I'm on all the time, just seeing listings. I'm like, okay, this car is at this price right now. That seems like a pretty good deal. So like, it's just a fun thing for me to do. And I'd love to be able to deploy that for other people that maybe don't have the time or would just like a second opinion. And that's what I'm going to be here for.
That's awesome. So moving a little bit more into the industry, you mentioned, hopefully doing car meetups and stuff. What's been your experience with the Utah car scene in general up to this point? You're more new to the scene.
Definitely new.
Rather than that. But what's that been like? What's been your experience overall?
Everybody's been great. Like we mentioned Chase previously. Chase was awesome. Filmed my first interview with him. And it's been awesome seeing his growth and trajectory because he and I started around the same time. But he just has this knack for being able to have a presence on camera and just like gets what it takes to like make good media. So it's always fun seeing stuff like that come up. But beyond that, just getting more in the weeds of people that are in my area that own other cars, or I'll be at a gas station and I'll see somebody else in a fun car, and it's just so much more natural to start those conversations. And this is a world that I didn't even know existed until like I bought this car, because I was just kind of on the periphery of it. I would just see a Ferrari drive past and I was like, oh, that's sick. But that's kind of where it stopped. But I feel like now that I'm more involved in this and I have the Instagram that I can point people to, it's become more natural and more comfortable to form those relationships and to talk to people about something that I'm mutually interested in.
Absolutely. So this vehicle right here, it's awesome. 5, 10 years, 15 years down the road, this probably is not going to be the only vehicle you're going to ever own.
Right.
What are some of your top dream cars that you hope to own, whether as a collector or, a daily driver, or just to show off and be like, yeah, I bought that. Do you have like 3 vehicles that stand out to you in your mind? You're like, someday I want to have one of those and own it in cash.
Oh, for sure. I think it's important to have goals and have things that you're working towards, because if you don't really have a why or a purpose for why you're doing those things, then I feel like it's easy for you to lose your motivation or kind of your direction of why you're doing those things. So, like you said, I love this car. I hope I have it for a long time. But ever since I've owned this Aston, I've kind of gotten into more of that world of Aston Martin in general. And I would love my daily driver at some point to be a DBX 707. Like, just, it's faster than this, but it's capable. It has 5 seats, 4 doors. Like, that would be a dream come true if I ever got into something like that as a daily. So
possibly the best sedan made for what performance you need.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so that's definitely on the list. I'd love to own a Italian exotic at some point, so either a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. I love the 2000s era Lamborghinis. Like, I grew up with those.
Yeah.
So definitely something on my list that I'd be super interested in. And I remember early on as well, I was like 7 years old, and a neighbor of mine had a Ford GT in navy blue with the white stripes. And ever since I saw that in person for the first time, my heart was set. So eventually that would be like the ultimate goal, is to get into something like that.
Like 05, 06 GT.
Yeah.
Like the older ones. Yeah.
But it's kind of a revolving door at the same time, because I'll get something like that comes into my head. I'm like, oh, that would be sick. I love it. But then something new comes out and I'm like, dude, but like, go look at that one.
Totally.
I definitely want something that has the scissor doors that go up, though, just because it's loud and it's excessive and everything. But those are some that have definitely been in my mind most recently.
That's awesome. So, just kind of wrap things up. I got a couple rapid fire questions for you.
Bring it on.
First thing, not necessarily shouting out or calling out any manufacturer in particular, but is there things in the industry that really piss you off? Like, as far as newer vehicles that are coming out?
I'll call out Aston Martin real quick. Their newer models, I will say, have done a much better job of doing this, but the infotainment in this car is bad. Like my 2019 Civic is my daily driver. It has more tech and features than this car does, and it was like a seventh the price that this car was at new. So I'm like, what is going on here? But also, I think it's kind of ridiculous that car manufacturers aren't trying to make things more sturdy or durable for actual real road use. So like McLaren in particular, I hear horror stories all the time where it's like, I had to get my battery changed and it cost me $4,000. I'm
because like all the panels were right in the way, and
exactly.
you just get to take half the fiberglass. You have to take everything off to get the battery out.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's like, it's a beautiful car. It performs great. It sounds amazing. Like it'll break necks everywhere it goes on the road. Can we just make it like a little bit more livable? I know the people that are buying those cars have the funds to be able to stomach things like that, but I'm just like, it doesn't seem that hard to make things more convenient.
Yeah, and I think that's one interesting thing I've seen, especially with almost every industry, is it's almost like planned obsolescence, where they make it very, very hard to fix things because they just hope you'll just go on to the next new upgrade version. Whether that mean like gluing everything in or making it stupidly hard to take something out. Or,
for sure.
I feel like the automotive industry sometimes does that too. It's like, oh, you want to change out something? Guess what? We've got this software locked on the actual car where you have to like pay us money before you can tune your car. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I feel like those manufacturers have to recognize that the people that are buying those cars do have the funds to be able to stomach whatever extreme prices there are for these changes, which it's just part of the game, obviously. But that's something that I do admire more about my Civic, is just how simple it is to maintain. And if something does go wrong, it's like, okay.
Yeah, to make McPherson strut, you can pop out like within an hour and a half of doing something, rather than, oh wait, this is all air suspension that has to be programmed, and you
Absolutely.
Just good luck trying to get it out of your car.
For sure.
That makes sense. Cool. Yeah, just last question. In general, there's a lot of really cool things that have happened with the industry. You've got a really cool perspective with video production, with this exciting opportunity to be able to show people and actually live it. You can actually access and own these vehicles.
Yeah.
If you could go back, 10, 15, 20 years to the younger version of yourself, obviously figuring everything out and being like, oh, what am I going to do with my life? What would be some advice that you'd give that person? And that could be, somebody who could be watching this channel too. What advice would you give them? Because obviously this seems inaccessible to almost anybody.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great question. And it's something that I think about all the time. Like, you'll see it on Instagram, something pops up like the exact same question that you're asking me now. And I have thought a lot about it. And I really feel like the best thing that somebody can do is be patient and commit themselves to something. Because there's no one right or wrong way to scale your wealth or to better your situation. If you have an affinity for working on cars and you love being like under the hood and figuring out and diagnosing what's wrong with a car, you can make a lot of money and a good living doing something like that. And there's multiple ways that you can expand your horizons from there. So I think something that has definitely benefited me in my early career is that I have a knack for just putting my head down and just waiting until I see the results that I'm looking for, and just doubling down on the things that I already believe in. And I think other people can find similar successes if they're applying themselves and framing their mind in that same way, where they're not looking for making enough money to buy an Aston Martin within a few months, but if they can decide in their mind, I'm going to give 5 years to try and get into a position where I can do something like this. I don't think there's anything that you can't do that is going to put yourself into a position like that if you're just willing to wait and work for it.
Absolutely. Well said. I really appreciate you coming out here, spend some time with Devon and I think we'll wrap up. Grateful to have you on the show, and drive safe.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.